Hi, I'm Robin Carey, and I'm talking today to Ekaterina Walter, the CMO and co-founder of Branderati. And we're talking about this really amazing concept of community on the one hand, connections on the one hand, and the interplay between that kind of networking, which is critical to marketing success, and creativity, which we think of in terms of individual inspiration. And I know you've had great success in your career at Intel and advising clients on the community part of it and brand advocacy and getting your employees involved. I know you've got all that stuff down. Where does the creativity come in? When you're talking to companies, how can you plan for that element?
All right, so great question. When you think creativity and you're shown an image, one person would think it's creative, one person would think it isn't, right? So it's all about relating. It's all about relating to a particular subset of audience, to particular people of different diverse backgrounds. So what happens is when we produce a marketing template and we just throw it out there, it's great. Maybe it touches somebody. Maybe some, insane, quirky designers think it's so amazing for a number of reasons. But you want to relate to larger audience, especially if your brand reaches larger audience. How do you do that? One of the ways you do that is passion. How do you relate? How do you reach a number of people? And how do you make sure you're relevant to those people? So those R's, right? You want to make sure you do that for the passion of people behind your brand. And that could range from your employees to your customers to your partners. I mean, there's some people I partner with or some brands or software companies I partner with. I'm really passionate about what they do and why they're there. So what brands, I think, sometimes miss or don't realize is the creativity lies in the personal story. The creativity lies in being excited about something. So if you're a brand, you want to tap into that, whether it's through user-generated content, whether it's through building relationship with particular influencers, or even with your own employees. For the love of God, look at low-hanging fruit, right? Within your company, people who work for you and they're excited to be a part of your brand. So sort of opening that up for your employees and opening that up to your customers to come in and say, look, allow us to do your work for you. Allow us to tell your story because we're going to do it from a personal perspective. We're going to do it with passion. And my story will relate to this subset of people, and this other person's story who's also passionate about your brand will relate to that group of people because we all relate differently and we all connect differently. At the end of the day, purchase is connection, right? With the rise of millennials, 50% of population is now under 30 years old. Millennials are very conscious about the brands and what they buy and who they buy and why they buy it. They want to know the story behind it. They want to know the history. They want to know, how good of a brand you are towards, just from social perspective. Are you helping environment? Or you only care about profit, etc. So those stories can create a really personal connection with multiple different people. And marketers need to realize it's not just, here's a template, here's our ad in the Super Bowl, check this out, it's awesome, this is our logo, it's the biggest part of the whole thing, we're done. Marketers need to realize that it's not about us anymore, brands, it's about people who consume those brands, our brands, and people who talk about it, and how to bring those people together in a meaningful community. That's how creativity fits within the whole sort of community sense, is communities are diverse, and they rally around different passion points, they relate to different brands differently. So how do we nurture that? We don't need to interrupt them. We don't need to stick into their conversation. We just need to give them platform to surface those passionate conversations and allow them to tell their stories. And you become, instead of one marketer, you become 500 marketers, you become 1,000 marketers, and you inspire. You don't just stick an ad in their face, you inspire through the stories of others. And so that's what I think has been, right? And that's absolutely, that's the scale, right? You think, my Facebook community is 20 million fans. Look at that. That number looks good to my CMO. That may be absolutely right. CMO is going to go, well, this year you build this community, it's great, I think I know what I'm paying you for, but the customers don't. What
Right.
customers want, they want a community of 500 people, forget 20 million, 500 people who dig them, who get them, who can connect with them and the idea of your brand through that community. Those 500 people, hell, those 50 people will bring you way more new clientele, way more new business, and way more brand love that they can build for you without even being paid than you can as a marketer. So I think we live in the age of advocacy and realizing that you are there to not particularly, create maybe things, but be a platform and nurture that spark. That spark of passion to spark that movement, to ignite and inspire the movement around your brand. That's what you're there for. Not just cranking out content every single day and trying to figure out what your editorial calendar looks like. Maybe some of that, but what do you do beyond that? If movement is what you're looking for, really.
Clearly, passion is not a concept unknown to you, Ekaterina.
I'm known for being overly passionate, but I think that's a good thing.
All right, quick question. What was your favorite Super Bowl ad then?
Oh gosh. I don't think this year I had a favorite, to be honest with you, because it looked like a lot of brands tried too hard. A lot of brands tried to fill other brands' shoes from last year. Oreo, you noticed, withdrew from a Super Bowl.
Right.
I have my other favorites, like an ad in India that promotes a business that promotes the diverse marriage or second marriage, which is frowned upon but makes woman and her child happy and provided for, right? Like the ads from Taiwanese telecommunication company, I believe it was Taiwanese company, that came out with an ad that will blow any feature film or documentary out of the water. The 2 to 3 minute movie that talks about how giving back is really truly the right thing to do. It tells a story, 3-minute story that leaves people crying. That's what I see more of. That's what I want to relate. That's the content I want to relate to that company through, because that tells me what they care about. Not just, here's a fun commercial about next generation of chips or an automaker, which they've been doing better and better, but I want to know what's behind, what's in their hearts, right? So maybe Chipotle hit it with some of their ads lately, and a couple of other brands, but I don't think anybody is close to really truly moving me, and that's what I think our job as marketers is.
Well, I want to recommend, before we let you go, your new book, following up on the very successful Think Like Zuck, The Power of Visual Storytelling. So you'll get a lot of passion in this as well. And I really appreciate your taking the time today. I hope we can do this again soon.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.